Well, it seems to be a very significant attack. Certainly the videos posted on Russian Telegram channels and on social media show a heck of a big explosion that is apparently in the Bryansk airport and that area vicinity. We know that this place is a key strategic Russian military airbase. We know that Iskander missiles, these are the sort of ballistic missiles, and their launchers are based in the area. And a lot of the reports are suggesting that these missiles have gone up in smoke. I think significantly as well, it's known that this military airbase is where some of the strategic bombers are also located, and there's reports of quite a few of the large Russian helicopters being destroyed. When you put this together with Operation Spider's Web last weekend, where up to 30% of the Russian strategic bomber fleet has been destroyed, and also their nuclear capable fleet has been destroyed. This again is something that will be really concerning the Kremlin. What is significant as well is that this is a couple of hundred kilometers really from the Ukraine border. It might suggest that that this air base, along with a lot of other bases that are at this sort of distance from the Ukraine border, are now in range of Western missiles like the British Storm Shadow and the German Taurus. We understand from the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz last week that all restrictions had been lifted. It's difficult to tell exactly what hit this, and the battlefield damage assessment, as such as we call it, has not been done yet. We don't know the full extent. We're aware that the Ukrainians are very innovative, and they've been developing their own missiles and cruise missiles with extended range and extended payloads. So it could well be one of the Ukraine missiles that they've developed themselves. What is strange, I think, that these missiles have got through at all. We're used to hearing about Ukraine firing, a couple of hundred missiles and drones at Russia every night, and most of them getting shot down. And similarly, most of the Russian drones and missiles fired at Ukraine get shot down. So to have a key strategic airbase to be taken out so comprehensively by the strike from Ukraine is significant. It either means that the Russian air defenses aren't working, or they've been pulled elsewhere. And we know that President Putin is very concerned about his own safety, very concerned about Moscow being attacked, which is now also in range of Western missiles. The rumors that they've moved a lot of air defense there was so completely counterproductive if they can't protect their own airfields with their strategic capabilities like Iskander and some of the jets there. So expect a lot of questions to be answered, and it will be interesting to see what the real details are when they unfold, when we get a bit more information. But I think everything that's happened in the last sort of week to 2 weeks, the attacks that Ukraine's been having must be having a strategic impact on Russia. And we only heard a few days ago the Kremlin said or President Putin told President Trump that he was going to get absolute revenge for Operation Spider's Web, which doesn't seem to materialize. Russia have struck a few hospitals and schools in various towns around Ukraine, but that is probably likely to be counterproductive. So this seems to be another nail in Putin's coffin that no doubt will be followed up with more attacks by Ukraine, and let's hope they're as successful as this one. I think what Ukraine is focusing on now, what we call the deep battle, in other words, well into Russia, because it's very clear that there is fighting going along on the contact line in various areas, Sumy, Petrovsk, that sort of area, but it's not really shifting the needle. Things aren't moving, but what is happening on the world stage? People are trying to get a ceasefire deal, trying to get people around a table, and these deep strikes. There's no way that the Russian spin machine, propaganda machine, can churn it out of anything but a disaster for Russia. And people in Russia are beginning to feel the pain of this war. Only today, there's a report in various papers around the world that Russia has reached 1 million casualties. This is more casualties than they suffered in collective wars since the end of the Second World War. This is really beginning to hurt the Russian people, as is the crumbling economy. And I think that's no doubt what Ukraine's trying to do, is to convince the Russian people. Putin might want to keep fighting, and Putin seems to have little regard for casualties or collateral damage. But actually, the people of Russia are beginning to realize that as they can't afford to buy bread, and as the price of oil tumbles, the Russian government is going to run out of money pretty quickly. So these poster operations have a strategic impact and effect, and one will expect to see more of them. And it's, the great might of the Russian military doesn't seem to be able to stop them, and conversely doesn't seem to be able to, do something similar to the Ukraine military, who are obviously relying quite heavily on Western air defense and other bits and pieces and Western intelligence. But let's not take it away from the Ukrainians. They are doing a fantastic job with their backs against the wall. With some of the innovation that we're learning that the Ukrainians are producing, we were briefed, I think last week, on the mother drone concept that Ukraine has developed, where a couple of FPV drones sit in a mother drone which flies 200 or 300 kilometers and then delivers these drones to attack. Very significantly, it doesn't rely on GPS for navigation, which can be jammed and interdicted by Russian jammers. It's all done on AI navigation. So it's difficult to speculate. The Ukrainians are very innovative, but they're also very canny. Their operational security is amazing. You look at Operation Spider's Web, which was 18 months in the planning, and managed to be successful. An audacious attack straight out of special operations in the Second World War. Absolutely remarkable. But the difference between the Second World War and now is the electronic surveillance, which all sides have, and the fact that it could happen. So yeah, this attack, again, I'm sure it's a combination of a failure of the Russians to be able to take down these missiles, but also, no doubt, innovation, the use of AI for navigation. But it is an obvious target. So again, one no doubt will see the sacking of the general in command of this oblast and protecting it. But no doubt this won't be the last major blow that Ukraine can land on Russian forces.